So hi, welcome back to my review slash blog, kind of, about the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Move on to chapters 5 through 8. So we go back to things that in the beginning I couldn't understand. Like it starts talking about Vogons, about this like alien species, and about prosthetic Vogon Junks, who is a Vogon, and they describe this creature as vile. Like they are very disgusting apparently, like they're not loved by people. And then we have again another one like of the asterisks, and then the whole description about Ford Perfect, who is Ford and three people here. And we go back to where we left off Ford and Arthur. So apparently they caught a ride, they hitchhiked out of Earth. Arthur seems to be pretty okay with it, like he just went with it, he doesn't seem to have any problems or like does not understand what is happening. So apparently they were hitchhiked by one of the Vogon ships, but by one of the crew members, I believe it was. They were the Dentrasis, and they were caught by them. And then they were found out, and Vogons hate other people apparently, so they got taken with like the leader, as you can call it, and well, this is moving to chapter 6, so they caught to the leader, and like he was telling them you can either be well, he makes them listen to his poetry, which it makes a point saying that Vogon poetry is the worst. Like, I think it was the third worst. The first one was of a woman in Earth, the other one was about another creature, and then the third, there's the Vogons. Apparently they are horrible. And another point is that obviously not all of the aliens are going to speak English. So how can you understand all of the languages? They have like this, I imagine it being some of like a worm that like translates it. That is how kind of they describe it. So what they would be like, how, gurgle, how, would be changing to should have a good time. As it repeats, this is your captain speaking, you know. So that is how they can understand other people or other creatures in space, in the galaxy. Then Ford explains Arthur his guide to the galaxy. So I forgot to mention this in the entry before, but the guide does not seem to be a book. It seems to be like a device, like an electronic device. I imagine it kind of like a Kindle, but like bulkier and more like spacey, that has all of the entries of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And he makes the whole thing about Babelfish, and then Arthur starts thinking about Earth. Like, he's starting to realize that Earth has been destroyed. There's nothing left. He's trying to make himself think something. So he's thinking about his parents and his sister being gone, and he gets no reaction. Just when he starts to, like, think about complete strangers and, like, the supermarket being gone, and, like, movies, and, like, he makes a thing about McDonald's. There's no longer any such thing as a McDonald's hamburger. So he's starting to get this point that there's no more Earth and there's no more left of its culture except for him. I don't think there's anybody else out there that will have survived what happened. So they get caught. This is when they get caught about for the Vogons, and they get taken to their leader, as you could say it, to their captain. And yeah, here it says, Vogon poetry is of course the third worst in the universe. Imagine poetry being the worst in the universe. It must be pretty bad. But it says, like, it makes a funny point where it says that the poetry has actually, like, made people die, which, like, it doesn't make any sense, but apparently it does. So they get this tortured by the poetry reading and stuff like that, but Arthur gets an idea and starts saying like, oh yeah, your poem was amazing, I loved the verse where it conveys how, you know, and the captain is like, oh, thank you, and stuff like that. He's taking a compliment, and then he's just like, oh yeah, it conveys so much. Deep down, you just really want to be loved and stuff like that. But the Vogan is like, wrong. It's about how heartless I am, and and they get thrown off the ship. That is what they're going to say, and so they are being dragged out by another Vogan, a guard, and while they're doing it, Ward is trying to like convince him not to kill them, like saying like, hey, look at a song, or don't you want anything of this, stuff like that, but the guard doesn't want it, and when they try to convince him, he's like, no, I want to stay here because I want to follow rules because I'm about to be promoted to, it was like captain or like head screamer, sergeant screamer, so apparently for these creatures their attitude, how they interact with people is a lot of screaming and like being aggressive. I don't know, it's a weird species to be described and to be introduced at this point. So they're trying to get away, but they don't, and the guard actually puts them in like where they're gonna be pushed out of the ship. And they're trying to think about something to do, but Ford has no solutions. He's out of solutions. He cannot do anything else. So we stayed where, and apparently they can stay in space for 30 seconds if they don't breathe. So they're hoping they might find a way that they can survive before they get thrown out, or when they are already in space and they have like 30 seconds to do something. So that, oh no, we can still have more. I thought that was where the chapter 8 ended. No, that was chapter 7. Then we go back to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and how it's been remarkably booked and how it describes space and stuff like that. And apparently they got another hitchhiker. They got picked up by another spaceship, and it keeps saying like weird numbers. Like it's saying 2 to the power of 100,000 to 1 against and failing. Like it keeps saying numbers, and that is when Ford realizes that they are in a improbable. It was like this engine that works in probability. I don't remember the name and I cannot find it, but they have been hitchhiked, and it was like super improbable that they were gonna get it, but they got picked up, and now they are in the ship. They have an announcement saying that they should not be alarmed, that they will be brought up to the hull of the ship where the captain and stuff like that is. So they just have to be there, and they've been picked up, and like things are happening weirdly around them. I forgot about that. Like they're stretching out, they're losing their limbs, like everything. I imagine it's kind of like how in movies they describe like when they take LSD or a hallucinogen drug, how everything like gets morphed into colors, and So I imagine that is what is happening. Ford got turned into a penguin, so it's very weird what's happening in the ship, and we still don't know who is the one that is the captain of this ship. So we stay there, where apparently there are an infinite number of monkeys outside who want to talk to us about the script for Hamlet they've worked out. That is how we end the chapter. So again, by this point, it's very weird to understand what is happening, but it's better. Like in the first chapters, I was completely lost. By this one, I'm starting to get the hang of it. I'm starting to understand what is happening in the story, and I don't know what is going to happen after this. I hope that they find the captain, and that the captain is not going to be someone mean. I would have used another word, but this is for a project. Someone is mean as a Worgans, and they are going to actually help them, and maybe have even like an adventure in space, because by this point there has not been any major plot points besides the destruction of Earth and they hitchhiking around the galaxy. So this has been my second entry, so thank you.